morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. How's everyone doing? Hey, Susan. Susan, I was just commenting to your thing. I'm so excited for you. Like, it's so fun to like jump into that. Is it your first like baby wearing thing, or did you have others and you're just getting a lark for the first time? Morning, Jillian. First time. Morning, Jillian. Blah. Guys, I didn't sleep. Forgive me. Anything I pronounce wrong, I cannot be held responsible. Good morning, Amber. We slept in 1.5 to 2 hour increments last night, if at all. So, I had a smaller one when he was little, but it wasn't a bad. Yeah. Well, because you're going to Europe, right? You're in Poland, I think, if I remember correctly. Got a new book this morning. What is it? Tell us everything. Tell us everything we'd like to know about the book. Good morning. We danced all night through. Good morning. We didn't sleep about you. That's what I thought. And remind me how old he was. And did you get drool pads? Sunrise on the reaping. There you go. Good job. 1. Okay, yeah, so you didn't really, maybe you need drool pads. Depends on if you did chewy or not. Some babies are still chewing on stuff at that age. And then, the side is chewable for them. Chewable. Ridiculous. No drool pads. He's not drooly anymore. That's good. Yeah, she's very drooly right now, so we needed them. Hey, Shelly. Sorry, I have the hiccups. We needed them bad. I made a kerfuffle order. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Amanda. Like I told you guys, I also use my own link because, we miss you too. How have you been? He was sick, but now he's better. Oh, yeah. She's just at the age, you know what I mean? Teething and everything. It's just all drool all the time. That's why I always have one of these hanging off of me, because drool. Life is lifing. Yeah, same. We had very little sleep last night, her and I. I know, right? She's so big. So big. How big is my baby? So big. Pistachio all gone? Mommy's so sad. That is so sad. Big sad for Mommy. I wonder if there's anything. Let's try something new. Let's try one of these samples. We had to use the snap-on neckbands for my kids because we do too. Yeah. When she's wearing stuff out and about, I do that as well, Amanda. But we don't have enough to use them in the house. 2 of my besties have 1-year-olds, and my third bestie's home super. Oh my god, that's amazing! Are they all do they all know each other? That would be so cute. Oh, I'm not gonna make iced coffee right now. Now is not the era for iced coffee for Mommy. Now is the hot coffee time. Oops. Do you want some? I have so many I can pass on. Bibs? We would always take bibs because let me tell you how many bibs we go through. We're packing for our trip. The 1-year-olds just met last weekend. Oh my god, that's so cute. We just packed for our trip, and I packed every bib we have for this trip because it was we're gonna need them because she's gonna drool through them. And luckily we are gonna be at my in-laws' house, so we're gonna be able to wash stuff. But good morning, Christina. We are headed to Florida to see my in-laws and take the kids to Disney World for her cousin's 4th birthday. Laundry daily, literally. Luckily, also our hotel room at Disney has laundry in it too, so that's a win too. Big win. Big win. Hey, Jen. I'm taking my kitty to my parents in Florida for weeks. Oh, you'll be right behind us. We leave tomorrow for the Floridas, but it's an overnight flight. I hope that was the right decision. I don't know if it was, but I really hope it was the right decision to take her on a red eye, you know? Yeah, I hope it was the right decision. I feel like at least because she sleeps more at night, that maybe it would, you know, I don't know if there's a right decision with flight. You know, I've heard actually the earlier you start them, the better it is. I did the overnight too, even without a baby. Yeah, without a baby for sure. I hope she sleeps. Yeah. Well, she used to sleep straight 10 hours overnight, but now we're in that sleep regression. If we weren't in the sleep regression, I'd be like, this is going to be a no-brainer because she sleeps all night usually. But for the last couple of weeks, not really. So I don't know what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do. Hey, Danny. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go, but I will let you know. Susan, have you flown with your boy before, or is this trip to Poland gonna be his first flight? Because that is long for a first flight. Good morning. Good morning. Ooh, it's his first flight. What, do you have any plans on how you're gonna get through that? It's overnight also. Yeah. Well, I know you should have a better time with that because he's probably past his sleep regressions and stuff. We are still in our sleep regression, very much in it. We're very much in it. Bottles, toys, snacks. Yeah. Well, and at 1, toys mean more than at this age. She likes her toys, but she doesn't get them all yet. You know. Are you chewing on mommy's arm? That's cool for mommy. Super fun for mommy. I want you all to know it is a testament to the amount that I love this child that I do this, because any kind of my biggest sensory issue is having anything moistury on my skin. I don't even touch cups with condensation on them. I wrap them in a paper towel. So the fact that I let her chew on my hands and arms is a testament to my love for her, and that I just muscle through it. Just muscle through it. Yeah, that's what I'm doing also. We're taking our Lark, and she's going to sleep on me in the Lark. That's exactly right, Susan. She does it everywhere we go. It totally works. You should definitely start wearing him regularly now, though, so that he can get used to it before your flight. Fill that thing with sleepy dust so that he knows, oh, I go in the Lark, I fall asleep. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have plenty of time. I would just start every weekend or whatever. Just put him in it for a walk around the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, it didn't change, Christy. It still drives me absolutely bonkers, but I just. The rainbow wrap is full of sleepy dust. I've been filling this thing with sleepy dust since she was 1. I know, and now I whisper. No, actually, we try not to whisper during the day because we want her to be able to nap through noise. So, that is what we do. Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate it. Pretty great. They, as in babies. Wait, they what? I missed something. I think you might have been filtered. Yeah, vacuum with the baby's napping. Amber, I think you were filtered because I only saw they as in babies, which as I don't know how that goes. Oh my God, I needed coffee so badly, you guys. I'm so tired. Can you see it in my face, how tired I am? Can the internet stop being a mob so we can have productive convo and move forward? About which thing, Brian? But I mean, they can't. Yes, get them used to sleeping when there's noise. Absolutely. We do that. We don't change any sound during the day. My husband does meetings. We keep her in the same room. She sleeps on me during like I pack orders, so she hears that like of the tape, packing boxes, whatever. She's always with me, and she sleeps. As you can see, I'm just, talking to her. I started whispering because I'm a dummy dumb, but like, look how cute this little hand. Look at the knuckle chub. Can you guys just like die over the knuckle chub? The knuckle chub to me is chef's kiss. Like, one of the most delicious things on a baby is knuckle chub. It is the best. She's out. You went to Book of Mormon last night? How did you like it, Jen? Yes. I want to hear what you think, Jen, before I give my opinion on Book of Mormon. I saw it early on, like when it first came out. I took my brother for his 18th birthday, so it was that many years ago that I saw it. I think I've seen it twice, though. My brother's in his 30s now, just for the record, and having a baby. It was your second time. I love it, but I need some updates. Yeah, okay, so since it wasn't your first time, I'll go ahead and say, I think the Book of Mormon is hilarious, and I think it was needed, and I think it's good. I also think, for me, it's a one-time show because it's about shock value. So once you already know, you're not laughing quite as much, right? The second and third time. Jen, did you feel that way? But yes, the Patty drama, which is like, can the mob stop and think for 30 seconds? I actually haven't looked into it yet, Brian. Do I need to? It is awesome for him. Yes, my brother and sister-in-law. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. My brother and sister-in-law are having a baby. And last night I had a dream about it. And I thought for a second, I literally just now in my brain realized that was a dream and not real. Okay, so I think they're having a boy. They're not telling, I know, satire that became a thing that, yeah, it literally took my part to see a boy because it was fun to see. That's different, Jen. That is fun. That kind of thing is fun. And like I said, I took my brother for his 18th birthday and it was a blast. But I don't know if I would go again. Speaking of orders, I DM'd about mine. I have no tracking number. Oh. Well, yours did ship because I remember making your label. That must be a glitch. Maybe it just didn't, because I have to manually input the tracking number. So maybe when I clicked save, it didn't save, but I've got them. So I'll get that for you. That's no problem. It definitely went out. It's a New Yorker, long profile. She speaks on all her grudges, as she does. I'm also an ex. That's different too. I'm not an ex-Mormon, but being ex-Christian, it's kind of similar-ish, not exactly the same. But anyway, my brother and sister-in-law are having a baby, and I believe it's a boy. And last night I had a dream that my brother accidentally spilled the beans that it was a boy in front of me, and I was like, I knew it. And I thought it was real, but now I realize, is there hair on my face? Or is it on the camera? Oh, it's an eyelash. We should make a wish because it's an eyelash. I wish that Secret Baby would sleep through the flight and only wake up for takeoff and landing so she can eat and her ears will pop properly. Okay, that's my wish. Sleep deprivation is no joke. No joke. Yeah, that's so weird. But I'll get it for you today. That's easy. We're flying to Florida, Brian, tomorrow. So she can meet her cousins on the other side. She's already met her cousins on my side many, many times. Did you see what you're getting filtered, Amber, because this is my first message I'm seeing from you since the they message. I will look into the Patty thing though, Brian. I know. Listen, I feel the same way you feel about Florida, but we're taking her to her cousin's birthday party at Disney World. So like this little tiny happy blip in the middle of Florida, right? And I don't want her to miss her cousin's birthday party. It's all of the cousins' first time going. Like the only one of them has ever been to Disney before, and that's the oldest one. The rest of them haven't been. So all the babies are going together for the first time, and there's a whole bunch of them, and we're gonna have pictures in front of the castle. They don't live there. They're coming in from there. They live in St. Augustine, but we're going to. We're all meeting up at Disney World for baby birthday party. She's turning 4 and it's gonna be fun. I think we did actually a pretty good job. I think we did a pretty good job making it pretty reasonable price actually. I am DVC, so our hotel is free because I've had DVC for more than 15 years now. So mine is free. And then I got them hooked up with another DVC to get their room. So we did a pretty budget actually. But we're gonna take all the babies and take pictures in front of the castle. Can I tell you guys the picture that I really want? Like the one that I want the most. So she has a cousin who's only 5 months older than her, and I want a picture of my husband and his brother with their 2 babies in front of the castle. And then every time we do something like this through their life, I want the same picture so you can watch the girls get bigger and bigger and bigger. I think it's very cute. Obviously I want all the kids, but twin cousins is kind of cute, right? My stepsister is Disney travel coordinating person to see if she can get me. Oh my gosh, Amanda, can we hang out if you do? That would be so cool. We're really close to there, and we go there as frequently as we can. Like when she's older, I 100% intend to have a pass. I had a pass my whole childhood. She's too young to have one now, but I intend to get one when she's old enough for it to be worthwhile. 100%. That would be amazing. Oh my gosh, it's so fun. Okay, let's read, and Amanda and I will hang out at Disney. How's that sound? Do you know when, Amanda? And are you bringing all your littles? Oh my God, can you imagine you left your littles behind? What an idiotic question, Sasha. Absolutely, my aunt and uncle are in Redondo Beach. Oh, that's not far at all. No, that's really close to here, actually. Redondo Beach is even closer to us than, Dad and back at you with the babies looking over their oh my gosh, that would be so cute. Oh, Priscilla, thank you for the idea. Next year. Okay, great. Yeah, Jen, you don't live that far. You could come anytime. Also, Jen, we might go up to Seattle to visit some other family. Not right now, but probably next year. So if I do that, obviously I'll tell you. I know you're not in Seattle, but like close enough, right? They're actually not in Seattle either, now that I think of it. They're in a bunch of places surrounding Seattle. Like some of them are in, some are in Tacoma. Some are still in Gig Harbor, which is where I lived when I was younger. Yeah, that's what I figured. Seattle's an easy drive for you. Some of them are in, gosh, my cousin, who's my twin cousin, who's the same age apart as her cousin is from her, lives, I want to say like an hour south of Tacoma. She didn't live there. She's probably not going to live there much longer, so I guess it won't really matter. But they built a house out there in some land. Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you guys more about this later, but I got reached out to by Audie Slimes, who's a friend of mine I've known since I started making slime, and she and I have done pop-ups together in the past, and she has a friend in downtown LA who owns a storefront who's willing to host a pop-up for us if we do like slime classes and stuff. So we might do that. We're going to talk about it when I get back. So that might be something that's happening, which would be kind of cool, right? Maybe we can come to that. Okay, let's read chapter 12 while this baby is still asleep. And if she starts to wiggle, I'll just stand up and we'll keep going. Because as we know, she sleeps when I stand because she's a monster. Just kidding, she's perfect. Just kidding. Everybody's perfect. Do you see my eyes? Do you see how tired they are? We're gonna read chapter 12. Wish me luck. Uh-oh. Liz is sending me a Taylor update. She said, alert, alert, Taylor update. Is Ray in here? Tell her to get on the live so she can tell us all about it live. All right, let's read chapter 12 and we'll find out what the Taylor update is later. It is okay to talk about the struggles. I just don't ever want her to internalize. I don't want her to hear any, negative talk. She's perfect. She's wonderful. Most amazing baby that ever existed. Okay, chapter 12. And last but least, District 12's girl, she belongs to Coriolanus Snow. Things might have been quite different if you hadn't landed your little rainbow girl. The truth is, we're all so busy killing each other that we forgot how to have fun. She knows, though, your girl. His girl. His. Here in the capital, it was a given that Lucy Gray belonged to him, as if she had no life before her name was called out at the reaping. Even that sanctimonious Sejanus believed that she was something he could trade for. If that wasn't ownership,
what was. With her song, Lucy Gray had repudiated all of that by featuring a life that had nothing to do with him and a great deal to do with someone else. Someone she referred to as lover, no less. And while he had no claim on her heart, he barely knew this girl, he didn't like the idea of anyone else having it either. Although the song had been a clear success, he felt somehow betrayed by it, even humiliated. Lucy Gray rose and took a bow and then extended her hand to him, and after a moment's hesitation he joined her at the front of the stage while the applause built to a standing ovation. Pluribus led cries for an encore, but their time had expired, as Lucky Flickerman reminded them, so they took their final bow and they exited the stage hand in hand. Morning, Avery, we're just one paragraph in, so you're good to go. As they reached the wings, she started to release him, but he tightened his grip. Wow, you're a hit. Congratulations. New song? I've been working on it a while, but I only found the last stanza just a few hours ago, she said. Why? Didn't you like it? It surprised me. You had so many others, he said. I did. Lucy Gray freed her hands and ran her fingers across the guitar strings, picking out one last bit of melody before she gently settled the instrument back into its case. Here's the thing, Coriolanus. I'm going to fight like all fire to win these games, but I'm going to be there with the likes of Reaper and Tanner and a few others who are no stranger to killing. There's no guarantee of anything. And the song, then? He prodded. The song? She repeated, and it took a moment to consider her answer. I left some loose ends back in District 12, me being tribute. Well, there's bad luck and then there's bad business. That was bad business. And someone who owed me plenty had a hand in it. That song was a payback kind. Most people won't know that, but the covey will get the message loud and clear. And they're all I really care about. Just on one hearing? Asked Coriolanus. I think so, Heather. Yeah, I think so. It went by pretty fast. One hearing's all my cousin Maud Ivory needs. That child never forgets anything with a tune, said Lucy Gray. Looks like I'm being rounded up again, though. The two male peacekeepers who appeared at her side treated her with certain friendliness now, asking if she was ready to go and trying to keep their smiles contained. Hey, Liz. Just like those peacekeepers back in 12, Coriolanus couldn't help wondering how friendly she could be. He gave them a disapproving look and had zero effect, and heard them complimenting her performance as they took her away. He swallowed his peevishness and accepted the congratulations that were pouring in from all sides. They helped to remind him that he was the star of the evening, even if Lucy Gray was confused on that issue. In the eyes of the capital, she belonged to him. What point would there be in crediting a district's tribute? This held true as he ran into Pluribus, who gushed, "What a talent! What a natural she is! If she manages to survive, I am determined to have her headline in my club." Roxy, I think Liz already checked it. I think that's what she was saying. That sounds a bit tricky. Won't they send her home? Said Coriolanus. I have one or two favors I could call in, said Pluribus. Oh, Coriolanus, wasn't she just stellar? I'm so glad you got her, my boy. The snows were due a piece of good luck. Silly old man with his ridiculous powdered wig and his decrepit cat. What did he know about anything? Coriolanus was about to set the record straight when Satria appeared and whispered into his ear, I think that prize is in the bag. And then he let it go. Sejanus appeared in another brand new suit, with a rumpled little woman in an expensive flowered dress on his arm. It didn't matter. You could put a turnip in a ball gown and it would still beg to be mashed. Coriolanus had no doubt that this could only be his ma. As Sejanus introduced them, he extended his hand and gave her a warm smile. Mrs. Splint, what an honor. Please forgive me my negligence. I've been meaning to write you a note for days, but every time I sit down to do it, my head just throbs from the concussion and I can't think straight. Thank you for your delicious casserole. Mrs. Plinth crinkled with pleasure and gave an embarrassed laugh. It's for us to thank you, Coriolanus. We're so glad Sejanus has such a good friend. If there's anything you need, well, I hope you know that you can count on us. Well, that cuts both ways, ma'am. I am at your service, he said, laying it on so thick that she was sure to be suspicious. But not Ma. No, her eyes filled with tears, and she made a gurgling sound, having been rendered speechless by his magnanimousness. She dug into her handbag, a ghastly thing the size of a small suitcase, and pulled out a lace-trimmed handkerchief and began to blow her nose. Fortunately, Tigress, who was genuinely sweet to everyone, came backstage to find him and took over chatting with the Plinths. Things finally wound down as the cousins walked home together. They analyzed the evening, from Lucy Gray's restraint to the use of blush to the unfortunate fit of Ma's dress. But really, Corio, I can't imagine things going any better for you, said Tigress. Yeah, I am certainly pleased, he said. I think we will be able to get her some sponsors. I just hope that people aren't off-put by that song. Oh, I was very moved by it. I think most people were. Didn't you like it? She asked. Yeah, of course I like it, but I'm more open-minded than most, he said. I mean, what do you think she was suggesting happened? Oh, it sounded to me like she had a bad time of it. Someone she loved broke her heart, Tigress answered. That was only half of it, he continued, because he couldn't even let Tigress think that he felt envious of some no-account in the districts. There was a part about her living by her charms. Oh, well, that could mean anything. She is a performer after all, Tigress said. He considered it. Yeah, I suppose. You said she lost her parents. She's probably been fending for herself for years. I don't think anyone who survived the war and the years after can blame her for that. Tigress dropped her gaze. We all did things that we're not proud of, Corio. You didn't, he said. Didn't I? Tigress spoke with an uncharacteristic bitterness. We all did. Maybe you were too little to remember. Maybe you don't know how bad it really was. How can you say that? That's all that I remember, he shot back. Well, then be kind, Corio, she snapped, and try not to look down on people who had to choose between death and disgrace. Tigress's rebuke shocked him, but less than her alluding to behavior that might be considered a disgrace. What had she done? Because if she'd done it, she had done it to protect him. He thought about the morning of the reaping when he'd casually wondered what she had done to trade in the black market, but he never really had taken that seriously. Or had he? Would he have just preferred not to know what sacrifices she might be willing to make for him? Her comment was vague enough, and so many things were beneath a snow that he could say, as she had of Lucy Gray's song, well, that could be anything. Didn't he want to know the details? No. The truth was, he did not. I think this part's really interesting. If you think about it, this is Coriolanus Snow, as a teenager, saying that he's more open-minded than most. Since we know who he becomes, that's real interesting to me. As he pulled open the glass door to the apartment building, she gave a cry of disbelief. Oh no, oh it can't be, the elevator's working? He felt doubtful, as the thing hadn't worked since early in the war, but the door stood open and the lights reflected off the mirrored walls of the car. Glad for the distraction, he made a low bow, inviting her to enter. Well, after you. Delulu, Amanda, or was he more open-minded in his youth and grew not to be through circumstance? That's me batting my eyelashes at you because I have too much of a headache to wiggle my eyebrows. Isn't that awful? That's what no sleep will do to you. It's just like the entirety of my forehead. Tigress giggled and paraded into the car like the grand lady she was born to be. Oh, you're just too kind. Coriolanus swept in after her, and for a moment they both stared at the buttons designating the floors. Last time I remember this thing's working, we'd just been to my father's funeral. We got home, and we've been climbing ever since. I'm sorry, I couldn't do Patreon. Oh, don't even be sorry. Don't even be sorry. Bail money. Oh my gosh, that sounds serious. But you never have to apologize. The irony of her sleeping. I know, right? Oh my God, Heather, please. Don't even with me. Don't even with me. Yeah, we slept in 1.5 to 2 hour increments last night, so that's why my eyes look the way they do. Maybe you'll get some good sleep on the flight due to sleep deprivation. Yeah, maybe. It's been 2 weeks of this sleep regression, so I'm reaching the point where I have a multi-day headache. That's where we're at. So the fact that I still remember the different characters' voices is a miracle. It's a miracle. The grandmama will be thrilled, said Tigress. Her knees can't take those stairs anymore. I'm thrilled. Maybe she'll get out of the apartment once in a while, Coriolanus said, and Tigress smacked him on the arm, but she was laughing. Really, it would be nice to have a place to ourselves for like 5 minutes. Maybe we could skip the anthem in the morning or not wear a tie to dinner. Then again, there's the danger of her talking to people. When Coriolanus is president, it will rain champagne every day. Perhaps people will just put it down to her age, said Tigress. Yeah, one could only hope. Will you do the honors? He asked. And Tigress reached out and gave the penthouse button a nice long push. And after a pause, the doors slid shut with nary a squeak, and they began to ascend. I'm surprised the apartment board decided to fix it now. It must have been so costly. Coriolanus frowned. You don't suppose they're spiffing up the buildings now because they're hoping to sell the place, with the new taxes and all? The playfulness drained out of Tigress. Oh, that's very possible. I know that the Doolittles would consider selling their place for the right price. They say the apartment's too big for them, but that's not it. Right, Jen? Is that what we'll say? That our ancestral home has gotten too large? Coriolanus said as the doors opened and revealed their front door. Come on, I've still got homework to do. The grandmama had waited up to sing his praises, and she said that they'd been replaying highlights from the interviews non-stop. She's sad, a trashy little thing, your girl, but oddly appealing in her own way. Perhaps it's her voice. It gets inside of a person somehow. If Lucy Gray had won over the grandmama, Coriolanus felt that the rest of the nation could only fall into step. Okay, we're not going to risk it. We're just going to stand up now before she wakes up. We're not risking it, you guys. No risk, no reward. But I don't want rewards. I just want a sleepy baby. We're just going to stand up and we're going to bounce. If Lucy Gray had won over the grandmama, Coriolanus felt that the rest of the nation could only fall into step. If no one else seemed to be bothered by her questionable past, why should he? He got a glass of buttermilk, changed into his father's silk robe, and settled down to write about everything that he loved about the war. As he began with, as they say, war is misery, but it's not without its charms. It seemed a clever intro to him, but it led nowhere, and half an hour later he'd made no headway. It was, as Festus had suggested, destined to be a very short assignment, but he knew that would not satisfy Dr. Gall. A half-hearted effort would only bring him unwanted attention. Tigress came in to say goodnight, and he bounced the topic off of her. Can you remember even anything that we liked? She sat on the end of his bed and thought it over. I liked some of the uniforms, not the ones that they wear now. Do you remember those red jackets with the gold piping? In the parades? He felt a bit of a rush come over him as he remembered hanging from the windows with the soldiers and the bands marching by. Did I like parades? You loved them. You'd be so excited that we couldn't get you to eat your breakfast, said Tigress. We always had gatherings on parade day. Front row seats. Coriolanus jotted the words uniform and parades on a piece of scrap paper and then added fireworks. Any sort of spectacle appealed to me. Really? My live contains something that is not suitable for younger people, apparently. That's probably because we mentioned the word war. But you know what? Wars happen. So, he was 5 when this happened. Front row seats. Remember the turkey? Tigress said suddenly. It had been the last year of the war when the siege had reduced the capital to cannibalism and despair. Even the lima beans... Oh, the baby's not suitable. That's right. Even the lima beans were running low, and it had been months since anything resembling meat had made its way to their table. In an attempt to raise morale, the capital had proclaimed December 15th National Heroes Day. They put together a television special and honored a dozen or so citizens who'd lost their lives in defense of the capital. Among them was Coriolanus's father, General Crassus Snow. The electricity came on in time for the broadcast, and it had been off with the heat for a solid day before. They'd been huddled together on the grandmama's boat of a bed, and so they remained to watch their heroes honored. Even then, Coriolanus's memory of his father had faded, and while he knew his face from photos, he was startled by the man's deep voice and uncompromising words against the districts. After the anthem played, a knock on the front door roused them from bed, and they found a trio of young soldiers dressed in uniforms delivering a commemorative plaque and a basket with a 20-pound frozen turkey, compliments of the state. Hey, Sloth. In an apparent attempt at the capital's form of luxury, the basket also included a dusty jar of mint jelly, a can of salmon, 3 cracked sticks of pineapple candy, a loofah sponge, and a flowery scented candle. The soldiers set the basket on the table in the foyer, read a statement of thanks, and bid them good night. Tigress burst into tears, and the grandmama had to sit down, but the first thing Coriolanus did was run and make sure the door was locked to protect their new-found riches. They'd eaten the salmon on toast and decided that Tigress would stay home from school the next day to figure out how to cook the turkey. Coriolanus delivered a dinner invitation to the Snows engraved stationery to Pluribus, and he came bearing Posca and a dented can of apricots. With the help of one of Cook's old recipe books, Tigress had outdone herself, and they feasted on jelly-glazed turkey with bread and cabbage stuffing. Nothing had ever before or ever since tasted so good. It was still one of the best days of my life. He wasn't sure how to phrase it, but he added relief from deprivation to the list. You were a wonder, the way you cooked that turkey. At the time, it seemed you seemed so old to me, but you were really just a little girl yourself, said Coriolanus. Tigress smiled. And you, with your victory garden on the roof? If you like parsley, I was your man, he laughed. But he had taken pride in his parsley, and it livened up the soup, and sometimes he could trade it for other things. Resourcefulness, he wrote on the list. And so he wrote his assignment, recounting these childish delights, but in the end he did not feel satisfied. He thought about the last couple of weeks with the bombing in the arena and losing his classmates, Marcus's escape, and how it had all revived the terror that he felt when the capital had been under siege. What had mattered then, what mattered still, was living without fear, and so he added a paragraph about his deep relief on winning the war, and the grim satisfaction of seeing the capital's enemies, who had treated him so cruelly, who had cost his family so much, brought to their knees. This is interesting, right? He loved the unfamiliar sense of safety that their defeat brought on. The security that could only come with power, the ability to control things. Yes, that was what he loved best of all. The next morning, as the remaining mentors straggled in for the Sunday meeting, Coriolanus tried to imagine who they would have been had no war occurred. Barely more than toddlers when it started, they had all been about 8 when it ended. Although the hardships had eased, he and his classmates were still far removed from the opulent life that they had been born into, and the rebuilding of their world had been slow and disheartening. If he could erase the rationing and the bombs, the hunger and the fear, and replace it with the rosy lives promised to them at birth, would he even recognize his friends? Coriolanus felt a twinge of guilt when his thoughts landed on Clemencia. He hadn't seen her yet. Between recovering and homework and readying Lucy Gray for the games, it wasn't just a time issue, though. He had no desire to return to the hospital and see what state she was in. What if the doctors had been lying and the scales were spreading to cover her entire body? What if she transformed into a snake entirely? That was silliness, but Dr. Gall's lab had been so sinister that his mind went to extremes, a paranoia that nibbled at him. What if Dr. Gall's people were only waiting for him to visit so that it could imprison him as well? Well, it didn't make sense. If they wanted to hold him, the hospitalization would have been the time to do so. The whole thing was just ridiculous. That he concluded, he would go and see her, first opportunity. Dr. Gall's clearly a morning person, and Dean Highbottom clearly not. Reviewed the previous night's Dr. Gall, who is a clear morning person, and Dean Highbottom, who's clearly not, reviewed the previous night's performances. Coriolanus and Lucy Gray obliterated the field, although points were given to those who had at least managed to get their tributes to interview on the stage. On Capitol TV, Lucky Flickerman was providing updates on the betting scene from the main post office, and while people were favoring Tanner and Jessup to win, Lucy Gray had racked up 3 times as many gifts as the nearest competitor. Look at all these people, said Dr. Gall, sending bread to a slip of... Sorry. Look at all these people, said Dr. Gall, sending bread to a slip of a girl with a broken heart, even though they don't believe that she can win. What is the lesson there? At the dogfights, people back mutts that can barely stand, Festus told her. People love a long shot. People love a good love song is more like it, said Persephone, showing her dimples. People are fools, sneered Livia. She doesn't stand a chance. Hey, Naisa. But there are a lot of romantics. Puff batted his eyes at her and made sloppy kissing sounds. Yes, romantic notions, idealistic notions, can be very attractive, which seems like a good segue into your essays. Dr. Gall settled herself onto a lab stool. So, let's see what you got. Rather than collect their essays, Dr. Gall had them read bits and pieces of it aloud. Coriolanus' classmates had touched on many points that he hadn't even had cross his mind. Some had been drawn to the courage of the soldiers, the chance to maybe one day be heroic themselves. Others mentioned the bond that formed between soldiers who fought together, or the nobility of defending the capital. It felt like we were all a part of something bigger, said Domita. She nodded solemnly, causing the ponytail on the top of her head to bob. It was something important. We all made sacrifices, but it was to save our country. Coriolanus felt disconnected from their romantic notions, as he didn't share a romanticized view of the war. Courage in battle was often necessary because of someone else's poor planning. He had no idea if he would take a bullet for Festus, and he had no interest in finding out. As to the noble ideas of the capital, did they really believe that? What he desired had little to do with nobility and everything to do with being in control. Not that he didn't have a strong moral code, certainly he did, but almost everything in war, between its declarations and the victory parades, seemed to be a waste of resources. He kept one eye on the clock while pretending to be engaged in the conversation, willing time to pass so that he wouldn't have to read anything. The parades seemed shallow, the appeal of power still true, but heartless compared to the ramblings of his classmates. And he wished that he hadn't even written the bit about growing the parsley. It just sounded puerile now. The best he could do, when his time came, was to read the story about the turkey. Domita told him it was touching. Livia rolled her eyes, and Dr. Gall raised her eyebrow and asked, did he have more to share? He did not. Mr. Plinth, said Dr. Gall, and Sejanus had been silent and subdued through the entire class. He flipped a sheet of paper over and read, the only thing that I loved about the war was the fact that I still lived at home. If you're asking me if we had any value beyond that, I would say it was an opportunity to right some wrongs. And did it? Asked Dr. Gall. No, not at all. Things in the districts are worse than ever, said Sejanus. Objections came from around the room. Whoa, he did not just say that. Go back to 2 then. Who'd miss you? He's really pushing it now, thought Coriolanus. But he was angry too. It took 2 parties to make a war that, by the way, the rebels had started, a war that had left him an orphan. But Sejanus ignored his classmates, staying focused on the head game maker. May I ask what you did love about that war, Dr. Gall? She looked at him for a long moment and then smiled. Oh, I love how it proved me right. Dean Highbottom announced the lunch break before anyone ventured to ask how it proved her right, and they all filed out, leaving their essays behind them. They were all given half an hour to eat, but Coriolanus had forgotten to bring any food, and none was being provided because it was Sunday. He spent the time stretched out in a shaded area of the front steps, resting his head while Festus and Hilarius Heavensby, who were mentoring the District 8 girl, discussed strategies for the female tributes. He vaguely remembered Hilarius's tribute from the train station, wearing a striped dress and a red scarf, but mostly because she had been with Bobbin. Well, the trouble with girls is they're not used to fighting the same way boys are, said Hilarius. The Heavensbys were ultra-rich, the way that the Snows had been before the war, but no matter his advantages, Hilarius always seemed to feel oppressed. I don't know, said Festus. I think my Coral could give any of those guys a run for their money. Hey, look at Mommy. If you're awake, look at Mommy. Hi. Hello. 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 Is it me you're looking for? Hello? Yeah? Mine's a runt. Hilarious picked at his steak with manicured nails. Woovie, she calls herself. Well, I tried to train old Woovie for the interview, but she's got zero personality. Yeah. No one's backed her. I can't even feed her, even if she can avoid the others. If she stays alive, she'll get backers, said Festus. Are you listening to me? She can't fight. I've no money to work with since my family can't bet. Hilarious whined. I'm just hoping she lasts until the final 12 so I can face my parents. They're embarrassed that a Heavens Fee is making such a poor showing. Yeah, you're embarrassed too? Should we sit down now that you're awake? You want to go in your bouncy? Do you? Is that where you want to go? You want to go back in the bouncy now that you're awake? Yeah. You can. You can go in the bouncer now that you're awake. Yeah. You slept until 9:11. That was pretty good. Okay. Whoops. Your foot's stuck, honey. There you go. Wee. Okay. You gotta stretch your legs out. Woo! There you go. There you go. Okay. Can I get this under your chins, please? Under the chins. There we go. There you go. Here's your chewy. You can hold it in both hands. Use both hands. There you go. Good job, my angel. Good job. Mommy's gonna take a sip of coffee. Yeah. Thank you, Amanda. I really appreciate that. Where were we, my sweet girl? Where were we? Are you even listening? Oh, I said that already. They're embarrassed that the Heavens Bees are making such a poor showing. After lunch, Satria took the mentors over to the Capitol News Station so that they could become acquainted with the behind-the-scenes machinery of the Hunger Games. The game maker worked out a handful of shabby offices while the control room was assigned to them that was sufficient. It seemed a little small for an annual event. Coriolanus found the whole thing a bit disappointing. He'd imagined something flashier. But the game makers were excited about the new elements of this year's games, and they chattered on about the mentors' commentary and sponsor participation. The booth was abuzz as they checked the remote-operated cameras that had been fixtures back in the sports arena days. Half a dozen game makers were busy testing the toy drones designated to deliver sponsors' gifts. The drones found their recipients by facial recognition and could carry just one item at a time. Lucky Flickerman, fresh off his interview success, had been tapped to host, backed up by a handful of Capitol News reporters. Coriolanus got a thrill when he saw himself slotted at 8:15 the following morning, until Lucky said, "We wanted to make sure to get you in early, before your girl buys it." He felt as though, wait, buys it? Does it mean bites it? Is that a typo? Before your girl buys it? That's weird, don't you think? Here, you dropped your chewy, sweetheart. Luckily, it's attached to the bouncy. He felt as though someone had punched him in the gut. Livia was bitter, and Dr. Gall insane, so he'd been able to ignore their certainty that Lucy Gray wasn't a contender, but somehow goofy Lucky Flickerman's words hit home in a way that theirs could not. As he walked back to the apartment to prepare for his final meeting with Lucy Gray, he ruminated over the likelihood that she could be dead by the same time tomorrow. The previous night's jealousy over her loser of a boyfriend and the way that her star quality sometimes outshone his evaporated. He felt remarkably close to her, this girl who had dropped into his life unexpectedly and with such style. And it wasn't just about the accolades that she brought him. He was genuinely fond of her, far more than he was of most girls that he knew in the capital. If she could survive, oh sweet, only if, how could they help but have a lifelong connection? But for all his positive talk, he knew that the odds were not in her favor. That's the first time we hear that. That's interesting. A heavy melancholy descended upon him. At home, he laid on his bed, dreading to have to say goodbye. He wished that he could give Lucy Gray something beautiful that would really show his thanks for what she had given him. A renewed sense of his worth, an opportunity to shine, a prize in the bag, and of course, his life. It would be something very special, something precious, something of his own, not like the roses, which were really the grandmama's, something that if things went badly in the arena, she could wrap her fingers around as a reminder that he was with her and find comfort in the fact that she was not dying alone. There was a silk scarf dyed a luscious deep orange that she could probably use in her hair, a gold pin that he had won for academic excellence engraved with his name, maybe a lock of his hair tied into a ribbon. What could be more personal than that? And suddenly he felt a surge of anger. What good were any of those useless things unless she could defend herself? What was he doing but dressing her up to be a pretty corpse? Perhaps she could strangle someone with a scarf or stab them with a pin, but there was no shortage of weaponry in the arena if that were the issue. He was still trying to figure out a gift when Tigress called him to the table. She had bought a pound of chopped beef and fried up 4 patties. Hers was considerably smaller, which he would have objected to if he didn't know that she always nibbled on the uncooked meat when she prepared the meal. Interesting, right? Considering what she becomes. Right? Right? Yeah, pretty girl. Tigress craved it and would have eaten her whole portion raw if the grandmama hadn't forbidden it. One of the patties was reserved for Lucy Gray, layered with toppings and nestled into a large bun. Patties was reserved for Lucy Gray, layered with toppings and nestled into a large bun. Tigress also made fried potatoes and creamed cabbage slaw. Coriolanus selected the finest fruits and sweets from the gift basket from the hospital, and Tigress laid a linen napkin in a small cardboard box decorated with brightly plumed birds and arranged for the feast, topping the snowy white fabric with one final rosebud from the grandmama. Coriolanus had chosen a rich shade of peach tinged with crimson because the covey loved color, and Lucy Gray loved it more than most. "Tell her," said Tigress, "that I'm rooting for her." "Tell her," the grandmama added, "that we're all so sorry she has to die." What a ridiculous thing to say. Terrible. What a terrible old woman. After the soft, sun-warmed evening, the chill of Heavensby Hall reminded Coriolanus of the Snow family mausoleum, where his parents had been laid to rest. Empty of students and their bustle, everything from footsteps to sighs echoed loudly, giving an otherworldly feel to an already gloomy meeting. No lights had been turned on. Truly evil. I know. The late rays that slipped through the windows being thought sufficient, but that contrasted sharply with the brightness of their earlier meetings. That's true, Avery. That's a really astute point. That's something that Snow would say in his later life. I wonder if he inherited those words from Grandmama. As the remaining mentors gathered on the balcony, they surveyed their counterparts down below, and a hush fell over them. "The thing is," Liz Estrada whispered to Coriolanus, "I've become rather attached to Jessup." She paused for a moment, arranging the wrapping on a chunk of baked noodles and cheese. "He saved my life." Coriolanus wondered what Liz Estrada, who had been closer to him than anyone else in the arena, had seen when the bombs went off. Had she seen Lucy Gray save him? Is that what she was hinting at? Oh, I'm sorry. Here it is. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Here you go. Yeah, you can have it right here. Hi, sweet girl. He was still trying to figure out what a gift, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know, I read that line wrong. I'll try again. Should I try again? Yeah, okay. He was still trying to figure out a gift when Tigress called him to the table. Wait a second, I already read that. Oh, I'm on the other page, that's why. As they wove their way to their respective tables, Coriolanus forced himself to think positively. There was no profit in spending their last 10 minutes together weeping when they could devote it to a winning strategy. Proceed, Mama. It helped quite a bit that Lucy Gray looked better than in the previous meetings in the hall. Clean and groomed, her dress was still fresh in the shadowy light. You'd think that she'd readied herself for a party and not for slaughter. Her eyes lit on the box. Coriolanus presented it with a small bow. "I come bearing gifts." Lucy Gray lifted the rose daintily and inhaled its fragrance. She plucked a petal and slipped it between her lips. "It tastes like bedtime," she said with a sad smile. "What a pretty box." "Tigress was saving it for something special," he said. "Go ahead and eat if you're hungry. It's still warm." "I think I will. Eat one last meal like a civilized person." She pulled open the napkin and admired the contents of the box. "Oh, this looks prime."
Yeah, there's a lot, so you can share it with Jessup, Coriolanus told her, although I think Lysistrata did bring him something. I would, but he's stopped eating. Lucy Gray shot Jessup a worried look. Might just be nerves, but he's kind of acting funny, too. Of course, all kinds of crazies coming out of our mouths now. Like what? Coriolanus asked. Like last night, Reaper apologized to each of us personally for having to kill us, she explained. He says he's gonna make it up to us when he wins. He's gonna take revenge on the Capitol, although that part wasn't clear in killing us. Coriolanus gave a... Mommy doesn't know how to read, apparently. Mommy doesn't know how to read. Coriolanus's glance flitted over to Reaper, who was not only powerful, but apparently good at mind games. And what was the response to him saying that? I don't know, most people just stared at him. Jessup spit in his eye, though. I told him it wasn't over until the Mockingjay sang, but that only confused him. It's his way of making sense of all this, I guess. We're all reeling. It's not easy to say goodbye to your life. Her lower lip began to tremble, and she pushed her sandwich aside without taking so much as a bite. Yeah, nothing's wording today, Nikki. Yeah, except for this one, apparently. Feeling the conversation taking a fatalistic turn, Coriolanus steered it in another direction. Lucky you don't have to. Lucky you have triple the gifts of anyone else. Lucy Gray's eyebrow shut up. Triple? Triple. Triple. You're gonna win this thing, Lucy Gray, he said. I've thought it through. The moment they hit that gong, you run. You run as fast as you can, and you get up into those stands and get as much distance as you can between yourself and the others, and you find a good hiding spot, and I'll get you food. Then you move to another space and just keep moving and stay alive until the others all kill each other or starve to death. You can do it. Can I? I'm the one who pushed you to believe in me, but last night I got to thinking about being in the arena, trapped, all those weapons, Reaper coming after me, and I feel more hopeful in the daytime, but when it gets dark, I get so afraid. Suddenly tears began to stream down her face, and it was the first time that she hadn't been able to contain them. On the stage, after the mayor had hit her, or the time that Coriolanus had given her bread pudding, on the verge of crying, yes, but she had managed to keep her tears in check. Now it was as if a dam had broken and they flooded out. Yeah? Coriolanus felt something inside of him unravel as he saw her helplessness and felt his own. He reached for her then. Oh, Lucy Gray. I don't want to die, she whispered, and his fingers brushed the tears from her cheeks. Of course you don't, and I won't let you. But she sobbed on. I won't let you, Lucy Gray. You should let me. I've never been anything but trouble to you, she choked out, putting you in danger and eating your food, and I could tell that you hated my ballad. You would be well rid of me by tomorrow. I'll be a wreck tomorrow. When I told you that you mattered to me, I didn't mean as a tribute. I know. I mean you, Lucy Gray Baird, as a person, as my friend, as my... What was the word for it? Sweetheart? Girlfriend? He could not claim more than a crush, but that might be one-sided. What could he possibly have to lose by admitting be one-sided? What could he possibly have to lose by admitting that she had gotten to him? I felt jealous after your ballad because I wanted you to be thinking about me and not someone from your past. It's stupid, I know, but you're the most incredible girl I've ever met. Really, you're extraordinary in every way, and I... Tears welled in his eyes, but he couldn't blink them away. He had to. He had to stay strong for the both of them. I don't want to lose you. I refuse to lose you. Please don't cry, Lucy Gray. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll stop. It's just that I feel so alone. You're not alone. He took her hand, and you won't be alone in the arena. We'll be together. I'll be there with you every moment. I won't take my eyes off you. We'll win this thing together, Lucy Gray. I promise. She clung to him. Sounds almost possible the way that you say it. It's more than possible, he asserted. It's probable. It's inevitable. And if you just follow the plan... You really believe that? She said, watching his face. Because if I thought you did, it could go a long way in making me believe it too. Yeah. The moment required a grand gesture, and fortunately he had one. He had been on the fence, weighing the risk, but he couldn't leave her like this with nothing to hold on to. It was a matter of honor. She was his girl. She had saved his life, and had to do something so that he could save hers. Listen. Are you listening? She was still crying, but her sobs quieted to small, intermittent gasps. My mother left me something when she died. It's my most precious possession, and I want you to have it in the arena. I know. For good luck.
It's a loan, mind you, and I fully expect you to return it to me. Otherwise, I could never part with it. And Coriolanus reached into his pocket and extended his hand and fanned out his fingers. On his palm, I know, yeah, she has a lot to say. Gleaming in the rays of the sunlight sat his mother's silver compact. Can you believe that? He's giving Lucy Gray his mom's compact. Yeah, he is. That's what he's doing. Lucy Gray's mouth dropped open at the sight of it, and she wasn't easy to impress. She reached out and she caressed the exquisite engraved rose, the antique silver, before drawing back regrettably. I know. This is what she's going to say. Are you ready? She says, "Oh, I couldn't take it. It's too fine. It's enough that you offered it, Coriolanus. Really." "Are you sure?" he asked, teasing her a bit, and she smoothly clicked the latch and held it up. He smoothly clicked the latch and held it up so she could see her reflection in the mirror. Lucy Gray. I know. Okay, go ahead, get it out. I know. Yeah, you want to read too? You're such a good reader. You're the best reader that there ever was. Okay, one more paragraph and then we'll go read. Just one more paragraph. Lucy Gray drew in a quick breath and laughed. "Well, now you're playing on my weakness." And it was true. She was always careful with her appearance. Not vain, really, just conscious. And she noticed the empty well where the cake of powder had sat an hour earlier. Did there Oh, I see what's going on. Oh, I see what you're doing. Oh. Well, okay then. We're going to have to change our diaper in just a second. But it's still going, so we'll let her finish. "Did there used to be powder in here?" "Yeah, there did," began Coriolanus, and he paused. If he said it, there was no going back. On the other hand, if he didn't say it, he might be losing her for good. His voice dropped to a whisper, and he added, "I thought you might want to use your own powder." Well, so what we know is that Coriolanus Snow has started to fancy Lucy Gray. Coriolanus Snow is in love with a girl from District 12, honey. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Are you done doing your business? Do we need to change your diaper now? Yeah, okay. All right, I'm going to go because she just finished doing something that requires a diaper change, and we don't like to leave it for even a minute. No. You were telling me that it was about to happen, huh? This is why he's so obsessed with 12, I assume. But we don't know what's going to happen yet. So hopefully I'll see you guys later. It just depends on orders. I need to get every order finished by today. And I have 2 more custom videos to do today and about 10 more orders to pack. So I'm going to get those all taken care of. Oh, great. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that. I'm going to go change this diaper and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.